So today, we're gonna be doing a 3-hour process, right? 3 hours, it'll actually be more like a 4-hour process because all of you are going to be tag team working together. 3 people in a head at a time, 2 people in a head at a time, whatever we can do to make this fast. So let's get her started, let's get her shampooed. Who wants to be the person? Great, you got it. So let's do that. Yeah, at the end,
I would have done more there. I would have been like,
a color correction is a question mark. Whether if she was in my chair, what would my worksheet say?
not guaranteed.
Right. There is no guarantee of this service. You may leave with the same hair color you came in with. Right? You may leave with the same hair color you came in with. It may only be 1 level lighter. It may only be 2 levels lighter. I don't know. I don't know what's going on, what your hair is going to do. It's a process. You look at famous movie stars, you look at famous anybody, right? They go through a process, and if you notice, the blonder they get, the shorter their hair gets. Right? Like, is she probably going to need a haircut after today?
Yes.
Yes. Will she need a haircut after the next step? Yes. Will she need a haircut after the next step? Probably. It's really important that she goes home with a deep conditioning mask today, and that she also takes home like an oil, right? Like the oil or the beautifying oil or a Moroccan oil, right? Coconut oil at home can be okay, but it doesn't quite penetrate the hair. The ones that you buy off the shelf here at the salon are designed to penetrate the hair. The ones that you buy at the grocery store may not. They may just sit on top of the hair, right? And the same thing with olive oil and coconut oil. It depends on what your cuticle is made out of, right? In a bottle, you want to add, and it's 4 ounces of like warm water. It shouldn't be super hot. It shouldn't be super cold. You should be able to stick your finger in it, right? I added like a quarter, and then I'm going to shake it up. It's like gravy. If you add all of the cornstarch at once, it's gonna be lumpy, right? So you can see that already mixed in. I'm gonna add another quarter. And this is why I like to do it in a bottle instead of a bowl, because when you try and whisk it, it stays lumpy. And you don't want it to be lumpy. You really do want it to be as creamy as possible. Who likes lumpy gravy? Right? A couple of you like lumpy gravy. All right, who here has never done a CPR before?
Me.
Great, you're gonna do this CPR.
Oh wow.
Great. So it's really not difficult, right? And it can go on her scalp, right? But we don't really want it to go on the scalp. Well, it's not gonna lift the natural at all. You're not gonna try and keep it off of her scalp, but you're not gonna rub it into her scalp because the heat and this can be a little burny, right? So try and keep it off her ears and things like that. But you're gonna work it through the mids and ends, starting at the ends, and you're gonna work it up to the top.
Start at the ends and work my way up.
Yes, start at the ends, work your way up.
Man, it stinks.
It will sting, but it's not like, you don't have to do it with gloves, but I do recommend using gloves when you do it, but is it gonna hurt you? No. No, it is a non-chemical service. So it should take less than 5 minutes to put this on in the shampoo bowl. Make sure it goes all the way to the top and onto her scalp, you know?
So when I'm like working it through, I don't
Yeah.
have to like do it in sections or like.
No, I love that.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, apply it however
I'm doing it here and then.
Yep, and then you're gonna make sure you bring it all the way up. It is activated with heat. So if you pile them into a pile, Rachel, come here. So if you pile them into the back, and you have a cap on them, and you have their hair sitting here, and you put a dryer on them, is any of this hair? Okay, great. Great. Pretty easy, right? The hair goes on top of the head. Not back here. And you can put a clip in there, like put a plastic clip, but every 10 minutes move the clip. Thank you. If you want to go blonde from dark hair or have a fashion color, you need to plan on $500 as a baseline to start. Right? I had somebody, it cost her $2,500 over the course of a year. Rachel, I did your hair. How much did we figure out it was?
Over 500.
Over $500 to get her from something that looked pretty natural to something that was still pretty natural. Yep, you're gonna put her in a cap, and we get to, so the cap's over there, so you're gonna put her in a cap, and she gets to sit underneath the dryer. Fire, yeah.
And then I'm gonna put the
We're gonna hopefully, right, we've had them before, they tend to break, which is why the salon is long. Alright. This is gonna get too hot for her at some point in time, so she needs to feel safe that she could move stuff around. So if this gets too hot, just raise your hand. Yeah? So, and you can always like move it back, like you can reach up and push it off of you. So tell the client, you can push this off of you, right? This is not a normal salon dryer. We don't have a lot of space. This works, right? Good. Take care of your client. Don't just put them in a dryer. Make sure they have a magazine if they want one. Make sure that they have a drink. Make water. Make sure that they have water, right? If that means taking one of these tables and bringing it over or pulling out a trolley, whatever needs to happen to make sure that they're taken care of, right? A joke? A jig? I could do a jig, but it might shoot the whole room. It's a little vibrating, right? So, like, set a timer. Do you want to see the timer or do you not want to see the timer? Right? Or if you really need the timer and they don't want to see it, turn it toward you if you have another client. Right? So that you can see it. When we have all of these, please use them. Right? We have enough that you can set a timer. And if you're, if you're in a salon someday that doesn't have it, set a timer. Don't look at the clock. It makes clients feel safe when you set a timer. Does that make sense? Yeah. All right, cool. So, 15-minute break? You want it? Go.
It feels hot. How does your scalp feel?
It feels good. It's fine.
Put it back here.
Is that what you wanted?
And the one's right here.
Great. Are you leaving her ear out or under?
Over.
Okay. Good?
Yeah.
And then touch the back of her head and make sure it feels hot. Like where the... Does it feel hot?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you.
Right?
Okay.
Huh?
This a little okay.
So, yeah.
Ready?
Any clarifying shampoo.
I didn't know you were done.
So we are going to shampoo a CPR out with any clarifying shampoo 2 times, right? And what did I say? Straight down, right? So we're not going to work it back into the hair. We want to straight out of the hair. The water, when you're rinsing it, straight down. Straight down. We're not doing this, right? So you're going to take the nozzle, and you're going to go straight down, straight down, straight down. Make sense? We're not doing this. We want to get it out of the hair. Make sense? Cool. And hot water, not warm water, not cool water, hot water. Right? Perfect. So then she'll rinse this for roughly 3 minutes, right? It's not like a perm, but we want to get everything out of the hair. Like get every single thing out of the hair. You don't want this in the hair reacting with the eliminate. I don't know what they do together. I don't want to know. Right? Or the color corrector. Whatever color corrector you end up using, I really, really don't want it reacting with the CPR. They're two different companies, two different chemical service, or one's a non-chemical service, it's a mineral removing service, and one that is actually a color removing service. All right, so what challenges are you guys having with color corrections?
I have a question.
Sure.
Because I missed the first part.
Sure.
Speaking with Elizabeth, are you doing the eliminate after the CPR?
Yes.
Why did you choose to do that?
Because I want to get all of any buildup, any metallic salts out of the hair, every mineral possible, and as much pigment out of the top layers, because that's all the CPR is going to do. It's only going to take it out of the top layers, whereas the eliminate actually can go into the cuticle and into the cortex and like unoxidize that. But if I don't get the top layers out, what is it going to unoxidize? The top layers. Right? So then I use the CPR. Can the CPR penetrate all the way in? It can't, right? So the CPR gets like basically gets the crud off, you know, and then the color corrector, right, unoxidizer as it might be, can get deeper into the hair and pull it out. So if somebody's coming from red hair, you can choose, right? In my experience though, like the reason why it didn't budge much, the CPR didn't do much of anything.
Yeah.
So that was a learning experience for me.
Yeah.
But since then I've been doing the CPR first and then the color corrector second, and it is a much bigger deal.
Cool.
Right. So I feel like it actually takes it a step further than you could with either of them alone.
Abilities of good couple. And
That's me too.
there's just like so many options, so many routes, which is great to explore. And if you're trying to stick to like a 3 or 4 hour, like that time goes fast.
Yeah. Right. Like I was like I want to be known as somebody. You know, I don't know how known I'll be, but I ran the numbers and well over 50, 60, 100,000 videos, right? 9.
Yeah.
Out. Right. Here's a teaser. It's like,
I don't even know. I just want to break
you know what I mean? Like, it's one of those, like, that's why I want to use Jennifer for the whole thing. And she was like the perfect fit, which is the first person that responded. I'm like, what do we do? Like, do you get a bonus? You know, that sort of thing.
I'm glad that that's on the
Yes, it is. And so it's kind of one of those, like, of course you want to take care of people. You know, and, you know. What I will tell you when you're coming from dark or black, from like a level 3 or darker, right? Or even sometimes a level 4 and darker. You're going to ask your client, are you okay with leaving red or orange today? Are you okay with leaving red or copper? Right? Anything that is darker than that, it may take an extra step to get through it again. Right? If somebody's like, no, I can't do anything warm. Okay, that means you're going to spend more money to get to your end goal. Are you okay with that? And some people will say yes. I would rather spend more money and leave with hair that's darker than I wanted, but you write that down, you have them sign off on it, right? If they leave a warmer brown, a copper, a red, then you are golden, right? It might be warm brown. It might be copper, it might be red, it might be in your eyes orange, right? It's just gonna be one of those things that it is what it is, right? All right, cool. We get to dry her. Do we want to do it with 2 people or 3 people? 3. I think 3 people would be great. So,
I don't know my glasses on, so I don't know what it is a little bit, she said.
yeah. Old school color correction is like a color cleanse, right? Is bleach in shampoo, is bleach developer in shampoo, and it is way harsher on the hair. This way of addressing a color correction is the most gentle, easiest way on the hair, right? I want to gently remove as much as I possibly can because the integrity of the hair is important, right? And her curls, she has curly hair. If we did a bleach service or a color cleanse or a shampoo cap, can that mess up her curl? Because how many of those are we gonna have to do? Who knows? Question mark. 3, 4, 5? Does she need to have 3, 4, or 5 bleaching services? Hopefully not. Hopefully 2 will do it. My goal in life is 2 or less bleaching services to get somebody to where they want to go. Right? So this is not going to lift her natural hair color. This is not going to do anything that is going to be, you know, it's just going to lift the oxidative color out of her hair, and whatever you see lifted after the shampoo is not real. Whatever we see lifted at the chair is not real. Because after we shampoo it out, we put 10 volume on it and it will reoxidize anything that's left in her hair. So don't get your hopes up. I love you. Don't get your hopes up when you see that it's all out of your hair, because it's not real. Unless it is. Cool.
Probably not.
But it's probably not real. Go ahead and blow it.
Just those little ends.
Yeah, her and yeah. Okay, so that's probably the fastest blow dry you've ever had in your life, right? So you can see it's already lifted her, what, probably 2 shades in some areas, 1 shade in other areas. It's exposed where she bleached in the middle. You can see the ends of her hair are like, nope, right? They're like, they didn't want to bleach when she bleached them, so those are going to be the hardest. And at the end of the day, I might be saying, sweet, so once you grow your hair out 3 inches, you can have purple hair. Or this is the kind of purple that you can have, but like,
Right.
you know, it's going to depend on how much color comes out with the oxidative service, or the unoxidating service. Again, not a word. Just want people to know that I'm actually educated. No. Now we're going to do the eliminate. It's equal parts of 1 and 2. If somebody can hand me a box. All right, like I said, this is my absolute favorite color corrector. I love it. I think it works better than the other brands, but there are other brands out there. Follow the instructions. Instructions can change. I don't care how many times you've done this service, always read the instructions, right? Unless you regularly have a Rusk person in your salon, you're not going to know if they changed their formula or how they're doing things. It says make sure you have an apron on because it will unoxidize the color of your clothes. Okay? You're going to apply it to dry hair, not wet hair. If you're doing repeated services of this, it still gets to be on dry hair, right? And it also says you must put 10 volume on it, or step 3. Step 3 is 10 volume, right? That's all it is. It's 10 volume. It might be, it's developer, right? So you must put it on there if you want a true version of what their hair is. If you, like, don't wing it. Just don't. It says you can and how to do it in here if you're gonna wing it, but you know, I have lifted, I'm like, oh my God, it's red, it's so perfect, and it was black back in the shampoo bowl. Her hair's obviously not black, but I mean, is it possible that we'll use the unoxidated, like the color corrector, and she'll come back and it'll be this color? Mm-hmm. It is possible. Is it probable? No, not based off of the results that we've seen with the CPR, right? It says that you can use this up to 20 minutes, not 20 minutes, but up to 20 minutes. I like the brushes for this, and then I will need 2 combs, and definitely gloves.
Medium or large?
I don't recommend doing this any more than 3 times, right? It says you can continue to use it until all of the color is out of the hair. If it's not out after 2 or 3 times, it's probably not going to come out, right? It's probably not going to come out unless you cut it off, right? And then that actually isn't it out, right? Okay, does she have enough hair that we might use all of this? Maybe, but I'm going to show you how to use this. This might not be how they teach how to use it, but I'll show you how to use this in a way that conserves what it is, how to put it on, and why it works so well when you're doing it. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So I'm actually going to measure this so that it's like half and half of these 2 things, and not number 3. Number 3 is developer. 1 and 2. In my experience, number 3 gets to not even be close to me. How many of you have had a perm and accidentally added the activator into the neutralizer? I have. It's the same thing. One doesn't work without 2, doesn't work without 1. Done. Make sense?
Yep.
No more than 2 or 3 times on the hair. In my experience, this is not salon recommend or the manufacturer's instructions. This is me. This is my personal recommendations. I personally would not use it any more than 2 or 3 times. Cool. All right. So who wants to measure this? Weigh this.
How much?
Let's do
25 or?
30. Great. Yeah. All right. We're gonna section it into 4 quadrants. Who wants to do that?
Sure.
Yeah. Section her into 4 quadrants as neat and nicely as possible.
Do you want the treatment design only to lift layers of color, or does it expose the NRP in the hair?
It will lift the layers of color and lift to whatever NRP it was lifted to with the color on it. So if somebody has a natural level 6.
If there was bleach underneath.
Nope, not bleach. So what I'm saying is it will, so if there's bleach, it will lift to wherever the bleach lifted to, right? And it'll expose the bleach's NRP level. But if she's a level 4 and she's probably been putting level 4 color on her hair, what is the NRP at a level 4? Red. So her hair should lift to red.
Got it.
A rich red, a brown red, but a red. If she is a level 4 and she has been putting a level 6 on her hair, what will it expose? Red orange. So it will be red orange and brighter. The lighter it is, the brighter it is. It will take it to whatever the NRP of whatever it lifted to. Because you've already exposed the NRP, you have removed pigment from the hair and put artificial pigment on top of it, right? So that artificial pigment, and will this work with henna? No, it will not. It will only work with oxidative color. An oxidative color is any color that you use a developer with. So if it is a fashion color that was an oxidative fashion color, then it's a yes. Use it. But if it is a direct dye, then you will be using, it's a totally different service. You'll be using direct dye lifters, you'll be using bleaches, you could totally use the CPR still, but you will not be using the color corrector. Does that make sense? Cool, so now we are in 4 sections, which is fantastic. I'm going to show you guys how to do this and then you guys will do it. I love the brushes for this because 2 things. I don't like other chemicals in our brushes other than color. And the other reason is because it's not gonna soak into the brush, right? It's gonna stay slimy on this brush. You're gonna start at the bottom and work your way up. Start at the bottom, work your way up, and you're gonna work fast. So hopefully I'll have 3 of you working at once, 1 in this section and 1 on each side of her, right? Which means that we can probably get a little bit, like have somebody mix another bowl. So paper thin sections, right? My hand is underneath. Do I need to put it where her new growth is?
No.
Nope. So I applied it here, right? I'm gonna take the comb, I'm going to comb it through, and I'm gonna work it through the hair. And then I'm gonna drop it, okay? Next section, same thing. Take a really fine section. You should be able to see through it. If you can't see through it, is it fine enough?
No.
No. All right, I can see through that one. These 2 sections are now together, right? Did I try and go all the way down? The comb is gonna pull it down. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then work it through. How much product do you think I'm gonna end up using? I'll use all of that, but like, do you see? So this is a little thicker, but I can still see through it. So this section I will take on its own.
Looks like it's spreading really well though.
Yep, it goes through the hair, and then I will comb it into its previous section. I apply the extra, and I move it up the hair shaft. And I will continue going. These sections are no more than a 1/4 inch thick, right? Like I wanna make sure, like that is too thick, that is a 1/2 inch. You wanna make sure that it's going through and it'll move really fast. If you have an assistant who's clipping and unclipping for you or just holding the hair, it will go way faster. How much product did I just put on there?
A
A little spat.
Like just a little dude, right? Not a lot of anything. I've seen people use an entire box of this. You should not be using an entire box of this on somebody's head, right? You really should only use half. We might mix up an entire box today just because for convenience, but you should be able to use half depending on, I mean, if her hair was down to her boobs, then sure, you're gonna use a whole box, but this really does go a long way. Now, as I'm looking at it, will this expose gray hair? Yes, right? Because gray hair is gray hair. So already the CPR has exposed some gray hair. So I can work this through, work it into the previous section, and continue. All right, who's gonna jump in?
Medium gloves.
Great, get gloves, get another trolley.
I need a real clip.
Yeah, that one hurts.
Medium gloves. I got a small.
I'm gonna make.
So we need one more clip. Yep.
You're gonna be the clip.
Do you see them?
Go Maria is using
But I
this
need
one.
something else.
Why don't you take this one?
Here you go.
Oh, I need a brush.
Can I have one of those? I just don't want to. Yeah, like I didn't. Yeah, like I just don't know why I'm on anyone's clothes.
Oh, I need a comb.
Oh, you need a comb. Let's get you a comb. This is not necessarily the manufacturer's instructions on how to apply. I will tell you the product goes so much further this way, and you can always add more, right? You can put it on and you can always add more. It's just, it spreads smoother, the product goes further. Why throw product down the drain? That's not great for our environment. It's not great for your pocketbook. Like it's just not gonna work. So if you can make a box of Eliminate go through 2 different heads of hair or 3 different heads of hair, then great. Or one person who's getting it done 3 times. So she has, so go about half an inch. So she has 6 weeks worth of regrowth, right? So I would say go half an inch to the scalp. And are we gonna massage it up as close to the scalp as possible? Yes, because it's not gonna lift her natural, right? And as I read the instructions, it says, yeah, it says right on here, do not repeat more than 2 or 3 times. So manufacturer does say the same thing that I do, which is do not repeat more than 2 or 3 times.
Same day.
You can put it under low dryer heat. So we can put her under the dryer for 10 to 20 minutes, bring her back over, or we can just let her sit for the 20 minutes and not put her under the dryer. We will put her under the dryer today, right? We want the maximum results.
Low heat up to 20 minutes.
Low heat. So we did high heat on the CPR, and we're gonna do low heat. And again, these are all my recommendations. These are not necessarily the manufacturer's recommendations. This is my experience and how I like to use the product, right? Makes sense? Don't be scared. Get other people involved. If you work in a salon with a group of people, and there are people sitting downstairs reading magazines or hanging out, or they don't have clients, you know, get them involved. So one of the key points of the color corrector is it does say to work it into the hair, right? So combing it is working it into the hair a little bit, but also once we get everything on, we're gonna add a little bit of extra color corrector in general. And we're literally gonna rub it down the hair, right? Like
You're fine
rub,
to walk by, just in case you were waiting.
rub.
Do you want me to? There's a lot of area to cover. I got little baby hands.
Great. I'm supposed to say, like take a chunk and work it down. Yep, add a little bit more product. And whatever you do, don't rub it into her scalp, right?
More product over there.
Her scalp might be heat sensitive by the time we're done because of multiple things. We're rubbing her head a lot. We're putting her under heat multiple times. So when we blow dry her the next time, just keep in mind that her head's probably going to be heat sensitive. So we're gonna shampoo her again with a clarifying shampoo. I like to wait for it to cool some so that it's not like super hot when she's going over the shampoo bowl, because then hot water feels like warm and I wanna make sure we don't burn her, right? But she's like, oh, it can be hotter. Like I would rather her not. So then I'll take this off so that it's not holding in any of the heat. If you wanna come take a look at what her hair looks like right now. Yep, so you can see her bleached hair. You can see some of the red orange in the bottom parts of her hair. We could put developer on top of this and it could go back to brown. So it's possible that you can lift somebody and you're like, oh my gosh, they're Ronald McDonald red. And then you put a developer on them and they're not Ronald McDonald red, right? They're brown or black or spotty, right? In my experience, if somebody is not pulling their hair color all the way through, then your lift is going to be better. If somebody is pulling their hair color all the way through every time, you're gonna have lighter hair exposed through the top and darker hair through the bottom, right? If they're only doing it every 6 months to a year, then generally speaking, it's fine. It's more even than you would expect. It doesn't matter though, the bottom 2 to 3 inches will always be darker on somebody who has hair like her hair type, right? When you're doing these. Okay, let me shrink her and then somebody can shampoo her 2 times and then we'll put the developer on and then we'll shampoo her 1 time. Well, you gotta think, when somebody's doing something at home, how awesome is it gonna be? It could be awesome. It could also not be awesome. I mean, if I cut my own bangs, it's not great, right? And I'm amazing at creating bangs on other people, right? If I color my own hair at home, will I miss a spot?
Yeah, I was like,
Yes.
it's pretty because it
So it is what it is.
And
Work from there. Now, it says specifically in the instructions that she will probably be sensitive to heat. So when we have everybody blow dry, just be very cautious. It does say you might want to do medium heat when you're blow drying because of this particular product. And then, but it does say you can still do on the scalp color application, which is a heat sensitivity. It is 12:25, which means we have an hour and a half, which is plenty of time to do some sort of a lifting service, right? Especially with 3 people applying.
I was like, what do you mean?
So we'll apply her mids and ends first, and then we'll apply her roots second, and we'll do it as fast as we humanly can. We'll use Davines Progress for her mids and ends, and then we'll also use Davines mixed with a little bit of Tolerance for her roots. We won't use anything over 20 volume. We might reapply the bleach, but she's going to be shampooed by 1:15 no matter what. So wherever she is at 1:15, which means we're gonna haul ass to get.
We want to mix the color while they're blow drying.
Yes, we will want to mix the color and have it in 2 bowls ready to go, so that when she's done. I mean, it took 5 minutes to blow dry her last time, so then we'll get it on. And this process shouldn't take that long. But she'll be able to have a single bleaching process today and probably leave somewhere around a level 7, right? And at that point, we'll have Lux step in and do a consultation for what kind of fashion color purple she would like to be. And then together, Lux and I will figure out how many more lifting services she will need. And then we'll move forward with like how many other classes we're gonna do. She's generally a curly girl, so we'll probably like do a little diffusing. Does everybody understand? Like we don't know?
Yeah.
Cool. And at the end of the day, might her ends tell us what she gets to have, right?
Yeah.
The reason why I want to bring Lux in is because she's our fashion color expert, and she knows the fashion colors better than anybody. And and that's how we work here. We defer to other people. Could I also step in and add some things? Absolutely. I have a vision of what I would want to do, and I want to see if it aligns with what Lux's vision is, and we'll see how that goes. It'll be exciting. Woohoo! It literally is like 5 minutes. Not even.
So the 3 inch later.
And every single step, if you get anything on the towel or on the cape, replace your towel, replace the cape. Right? Be kind. You might go through more capes than you want to go through, but chemicals that aren't meant to go together shouldn't go together, whether it's on a cape or whatever it is. Does that? Yep. You're gonna put it all over just like you're putting a toner on. You want to make sure it's completely saturated through your hair. Could you go straight into a bleaching service and not do this step?
I don't think so.
I don't recommend it. People do, right? And what happens as soon as they put the bleach on, it's weird, it gets darker, right? Because it has the hydrogen peroxide in it. You do this, and then all of a sudden you're like, wow, that was orange, and now it's red. Or wow, that was red, and now it's brown. If you choose to skip this step, it is more unpredictable than if you do this step, right? Just 5 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes on the hair. It just reoxidizes everything on there and go from there. You can use the whole thing because if you're in a salon that doesn't have developer, then that's not going to work, right? So you're always going to use it. It says any 10 volume or lower developer can be used in its place.
So anything. Okay. Doesn't
Any,
matter what brand.
it does not matter what brand. Any 10 volume can be used in its place. And it does say 5 minutes. So it will sit for 5 minutes. And then we will shampoo and condition because I don't want to go into a bleaching service with raw hair, right? Because that's icky, right? And we can condition with a heavier mask for 5 to 10 minutes. We'll probably just put it on for 5. And then that way when we're bleaching her, we're not like going straight into super dry hair. Because integrity, this is all about the integrity of the hair and getting her as fast as we can, or getting her to the place that she wants to be as fast as she can safely without destroying her curls or melting her hair. We're not trying to be like miracle, woohoo, you're purple today. You know, if it happens, it happens. I doubt it. She's gonna leave a natural color today. When you're doing a shampoo, right? You don't wanna like shampoo because she's gonna have bleach on her head, right? You know, you wanna get in there, but you don't wanna be like, No, that's why we're working it down the hair shaft, right? And if you're doing this when you're shampooing and you're working down, you're gonna be fine. But if you're like trying to pull it all up on the head and like do this, you know, that can be fine for a haircut or like after color, but probably not right in the beginning, right? And her head's going to be more sensitive. Our end goal is basically an all over blonde.
Okay.
Right? If her end goal wasn't an all over blonde, then it would be something different.
Cool.
If her end goal was a balayage look,
Then
this could look like a root retouch and a balayage, right? It could look like foils that we toned down with a stretch root toner, right? It's just what is your end goal? I don't know. What's your end goal? You know, do you want purple pieces or do you want to be all over purple? I'm pretty sure she wants to be all over purple. Guys, did you hear her say that? It almost toned her in a way, right? It will feel like you're putting a toner on their hair sometimes. Sometimes it won't, right? But if you are starting from black and going straight to a bleaching service, it's a no, right? If somebody's like, I don't have enough money to do this step, they get to do this step, right? If they're going from black to blonde, they have to do a CPR and a color corrector. You know, if they're like, well, can I just do one of the two? I really don't recommend it. I mean, I will sign off that you will never be blonde on this sheet if that's what you would like to do. Because once I start bleaching you, it's gonna start shoving color back into your hair as well as removing it because I didn't get out as much as I possibly could in a safe and gentle way. Right? You said you don't want any red or any orange in your hair, and I'm gonna start bleaching you without doing a color remover or a CPR treatment. And sometimes you might pick that you're only gonna do a CPR. You might pick that you're only gonna do a color corrector on somebody who doesn't have black hair, right? So he has level 3 or darker hair, this is the direction you're going to go in. Especially if they're doing it themselves at home. Yeah. Yeah, I would still dry hair and do a toner. Yeah.
If you're gonna
I'm gonna do a quick shampoo and conditioner. And then we're gonna diffuse her.
just get these guys.
Yeah, but she's been straight.
What are you in school for, Tammy?
She just.
So will she get a deep conditioning treatment?
Yes.
Is there an option?
That is the guarantee.
She will get a intense deep conditioning treatment with a mask on top of it.
Yeah. That is not thanks. You know why you're wearing me? For myself.
So cool water is okay. Liv, like, be mindful of her scalp.
Yeah. It's cool.
Great. At this point, I can see her roots are not going to oxidize the way that we want them to. So what we're gonna do is we're literally just going to mix up a 7 with no tone in it, and we're gonna just apply that where it can be seen, right? I don't care if we put it back here, right? That's not important. What I wanna do is put it where her part is and on the sides, and that should process super fast and make sure that her root doesn't look like it's glowing next to the rest of her hair color.
You said you wanted this then?
All right.
Thank you, Anna.
You're welcome. I'll take a picture. Do you feel safe? Well, you too. You too.
Oh, I hate it. Because it was that, without tape like that. And,
Let's take this bad boy off.
Oh, and with the, how's it look with my, no, it's cold under.
You don't even look like, who are you?
Then yeah, then it gets really weird
That gets a little
when you
strange.
glance in the camera, but it's so hard not to.
Oh,